Hello, welcome to Old Virginia Homes. Today we'll be visiting the home place of a boy who would eventually become known as my bad old man. This designation was given to Confederate officer Jubal Early, bestowed in a somewhat playful and affectionate manner by General Robert E. Lee, because Jubal Early was known to be aggressive and cantankerous, swearing freely in front of the proper General Lee, but he was also fierce and dauntless, dependable, and quite capable of handling important military commands. Jubal Early was also known as Old Jube by his own soldiers. The old part of this nickname was probably partly due to the rheumatoid arthritis that caused him to have a premature stoop in his stature. Interestingly, this irascible, unapologetic Confederate was initially a staunch Unionist, voting against secession. But his post-war writings and rhetoric were highly controversial and divisive. Now let's step back to a time beginning when Old Jube was just a boy, the third born of 10 children, as we visit the Jubal Early Homeplace, an Old Virginia home in Franklin County. Let's go! Built circa 1814, this house began as a modest rural dwelling. Originally a 2-story, one-room over one-room house with an enclosed corner winder staircase. In the mid-19th century, a 2-story addition with a stair passage and Greek Revival detail was added. More additions were added to the back of the house throughout the years. Jubal Early was born here on November 3, 1816, the son of Joab and Ruth. Ruth's father was Colonel Samuel Hairston, a major landowner in southwest Virginia, who at one point was reputedly the richest man in the South, worth millions in land and enslaved people. Joab served in the Virginia House of Delegates, became the county sheriff, and managed an extensive tobacco plantation of more than 4,000 acres. Young Jubal grew up among siblings in a household shaped by education, ambition, and the realities of a tobacco economy sustained by enslaved labor. Jubal had private tutors and also attended local private schools. He graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1837. Initially, he pursued a military career, but then turned to law and became a successful attorney and politician. Before the Civil War, he identified as a Unionist and opposed Virginia's secession. However, once his home state left the Union in 1861, Early cast his loyalty with Virginia and joined the Confederate cause. During the Civil War, Early rose to the rank of lieutenant general in the Confederate States Army and became a trusted subordinate of Robert E. Lee. He played significant roles in major campaigns, including the Battle of Fredericksburg and the Battle of Gettysburg. In 1864, he led an independent campaign into the North, even threatening Washington, D.C., during the Battle of Fort Stevens. Early's legacy is deeply complicated and often contentious. He could be harsh with subordinates and was blamed for some Confederate failures in the Shenandoah Valley. Though the property left the Early family around 1847, after the Civil War, as defeat closed in, Early is said to have returned here briefly, hiding among familiar hills before slipping away into temporary exile. He fled to avoid arrest and lived in Canada and Europe before returning to Virginia after being pardoned, along with many other prominent Confederates, by President Andrew Johnson in 1869. Perhaps most controversially, Early became a proponent of the lost cause ideology, which sought to interpret the Confederacy's defeat in more favorable terms, minimizing the role of slavery. This is thought to have influenced generations of Southern historical interpretation. He took pride in remaining an unreconstructed rebel and supposedly wore only suits colored Confederate gray. He resumed his legal practice and was a prolific writer and penned memoirs and narratives focusing primarily on his memories of the Civil War. Time after the war was not kind to Jubal Early. His father died in 1870, and the mother of his 4 children, he had never married her, married another man in 1871. He spent much of his later life ill, and in 1894, he took a fall down the granite stairs at the Lynchburg post office. The doctor noted that he was suffering from back pain and mental confusion. He died 2 weeks later. On the afternoon of his funeral, Virginia's flag flew at half-staff over the Capitol, and cannons boomed 36 times at 5-minute intervals. A procession of VMI cadets, 300 Confederate veterans, and local militia accompanied the flag-draped casket and riderless horse with reversed stirrups to St. Paul's Church in Lynchburg. Early was buried at Lynchburg's Spring Hill Cemetery. The Jubal Early Homeplace deteriorated greatly throughout the 20th century. Like many rural historic sites, it passed through different hands and periods of decline, and its historic significance was at risk of being forgotten. In 1995, the property was donated by Raymond and Marguerite Kelly to the Jubal A. Early Preservation Trust. This nonprofit organization undertook the careful work of stabilizing and restoring the structure, preserving its architectural fabric while transforming it into a place of education and remembrance. Today, the home place stands not only as the birthplace of a controversial Civil War figure, but as a layered historic site, an architectural artifact, and a cultural landscape. Its restored rooms now hold artifacts that trace the life of Jubal Early and the broader story of the region. These same hills where a young boy once romped, then a fugitive general hid, still surround this preserved landmark. Thank you for visiting the Jubal Early Homeplace with me, an old Virginia home.